Hey everybody, Christian here, and today we're going to be talking about the 2000 penny. Now, these have a ton of history behind them. There's lots of cool stuff going on with it, so I'm excited to speak about some of the ones that are worth more than 1 cent. Now, obviously, some are just in really nice condition, but there's also going to be some varieties, like a wide AM that I'll discuss, as well as some more minor ones. We'll talk about some of the mint errors, and there's also going to be the Cheerios penny. So that's got some sort of unique history. That's just a 1 year thing, but I'm really excited to talk to you about these. Let's get into the PowerPoint presentation and start talking. So here we've got the 2000 Lincoln Memorial cent. Not going to get too much into the general overview outside of that. After 1982, all of the coins were struck in 2.5 grams of zinc with a copper plating, so these should be 2.5 grams. Lincoln is the first person to be featured on a circulating U.S. coin back in 1909 when his that obverse was created, and you can pause for some of the key dates. But the cent itself, it's really not going to have too much value unless you can get it in that mint state 68 range, possibly 67 plus. You could about break even, but you really want to look for flawless coins to send in if there's not one of the varieties or special conditions that I am about to discuss in the rest of the video. I mean, when you've produced 5.5 billion, you're really going to have to be at the top end to be scarce. So it should be basically, flawless and perfect. Try to hit that mint state 68 of $60 to $150. And mint state 69, that's really the upper end. You can get quite a nice break if you're able to submit something that grades mint state 69 in the $2,000 range. In terms of the Cheerios cent, though, these are really cool. So basically, the first 10 million coins were put into cereal box inserts with Cheerios, and somebody could have done pretty well by buying a bunch of Cheerios and just holding onto these pennies, because in the package they're worth $10, and that's sort of the package that the coins would come in. They were, it says they were one of the first 10 million, and if you send them in to get graded, they'll come back with the pedigree of having been in the Cheerios case. So a mint state 67 red, really nice example would be $250 as opposed to, like 15. And then instead of being $60, a mint state 68 would be 4,000. So it has that additional collectability of being in the first 10 million. Now, one thing to also focus on is the wide AM variety. So normally the coin is going to have a touching AM, but there were a few proof dies where the AM was not touching that ended up getting used in the business strike, regular production ones. And those ended up, just escaping into circulation. It was a very minor flaw, but it's noticeable because the AM are not touching whatsoever. And so they're not super rare, but in mint state, lower mint state, $10 for mint state 63, $40 for mint state 65 red, which are conceivable to find in circulation, would be very challenging to move up beyond that, but they also get expensive, similar to the Cheerios in high condition. There's also a few much lesser known varieties, but there's a lot that has to do with small little doubling on the sides of the columns or on Lincoln. They're worth like $1 to $5, but it's better than 1 cent for the average, non-variety, non-wide AM, non-Cheerios cent in these conditions, and just poses a fun treasure hunt. So I figure I'll just include some of the more prominent ones. I'll do 2 of them. So these 2 have that clear chip almost to the side of Lincoln, and then here it looks like there's also some doubled knees, so there's like an extra one of Lincoln's knees. Nothing crazy, but something that has been noted both by Copper Coins, by Kaneka, Wexler. And then we also have some cool mint errors I want to cover briefly. So this is a great example. Mint state 68, almost flawless. Most of the time these grade 63 to 65. A fair amount of them were produced just with the sheer volume of pennies that were being made and the amount of dime planchets that were floating out there. A lot of the dimes would get struck and then end up being struck again over by a Lincoln cent, and this is the result. Here it looks like the obverse of the Lincoln was impressed into the reverse of the dime, but it sold for $2,600 at a recent auction. This one, and there's a lot of 2000 cents that were crazy, and I think that at this point you gotta wonder if maybe the mint employees were getting involved, because there was a cent that was struck on a Sacagawea dollar that sold for $35,000 at Heritage Auctions auction night, and that's just a super significant one of the top tier errors that's existed and been auctioned. There was one that was struck on New Hampshire. I want to say Virginia. This one sold for over $9,000. Here's a more normal broad struck coin that also has an indent. So it was struck without having the collars to retain it. So the metal flows out a little bit. And then on top of it, it seems like it didn't fully leave and another coin gets struck into it while it's slightly, the end of the planchet of the first coin is on the end of this one. So this one sold for $80 recently. And then there was also, this one that was struck on a Virginia quarter, and that sold for $15,600. So really, really expensive, and rightfully so. These are really, really rare errors. So, a lot of craziness going on in 2000. Sort of fun for me to make a video because we have everything from the crazy errors to the small, tiny varieties. And then we also have some sort of mid-tier known varieties and just sort of a unique thing that the mint did that ends up being valuable and collectible today. Thanks for watching the video. I'd encourage you to like the video, comment, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. And I also have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and some other social media platforms. You can also go to my main channel website, treasuretownYT.com, to learn more about the channel and sort of stay in contact. I also will eventually host all of these videos on coinsmetalscards.com, which will be both news, marketplace, and coin information. I do have the goal of eventually getting pretty much every US coin, date, mint mark, denomination on the channel with a similar video to the one that you just watched, and that will likely all be hosted there. And then I also have treasuretowncoins.com, which is sort of my coin dealing wing, coin dealing only entity that is a little bit less focused on content production. So thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you on some of my other videos. I also have videos that are not just the date, mint mark, denomination recap in this format, so you can check some of those out, and I'll have fun seeing you there.